Welcome back to the Manc Entrepreneur YouTube channel. And in today's episode, I'm talking to you about basically school results days and why you are not defined by a little letter on a piece of paper. You see, because today here in the UK, it's GCSE results day. Oh, sorry. And if you're not based in the UK, these are the exams which you take when you are 15 or 16 years old. Basically, it's the end of your sort of compulsory education. And from there, you either go into find work or you go into college and then you do 2 years there and then go into university. So these are like your first compulsory exams that you sit, which technically it should mean something. And last week, exactly a week ago today, Thursday, it was the A-level results day. And that is the A-levels are the results that you take at college or sixth form to then determine if you are, going on to university or if you're going into something else. So I wanted to talk to you today about the results day as a concept. And I know, for example, there's going to be two types of people who get results today. There's going to be those that are happy with the results that you got. And if that's you, fantastic. Well done. Congratulations. You worked hard. You got the reward and you can now go on and more likely pursue what it is that you've planned to pursue. If, however, you are not in the happy camp and you didn't get the results that you needed or you wanted or you expected, then this video is aimed at you. Because, I mean, let's look at it as it is. If you didn't get the results that you wanted, chances are that you either fall into one or two categories. One is like you don't exam well, which I know some people don't. They don't handle pressure well and they don't perform to the best of their ability. The second option is you just didn't put the work in. You didn't revise hard enough, whatever that may be. And if you're in that second camp, then truly you probably deserve the grades that you've got. And that's me being brutally honest. Now, with that said, I don't want you to be disheartened. I don't want you to feel like there's no other option. I know it was a long time ago, but I know when I actually picked up my GCSE results on my birthday. And so that was either going to go really well or really badly. And it turned out it went really well. I did better than I thought I was going to do, which was a nice surprise. But being brutally honest, at GCSE level, I did some revision, but I didn't do as much as I could have done because I didn't enjoy it. I didn't really enjoy school as a concept. I don't think I learnt well. And now I know more about how I learn. I learn by doing. I learn by getting hands-on. And obviously, as you'll know, in the school environment here in the UK, it is very much a structured learning system where you get taught something. In terms of someone tells you something, you write it down and you have to remember it. It's very theory-based, not very practical-based. Now, I know there's some things where you cannot do practical things. You cannot learn hands-on, which is why, in some respects, everybody learns differently. And some people will always do very well in the school system and some people will do not very well at all. That's just the way it is. My big problem with schools, and I've talked about this before, is that schools in the UK, to me, from an outsider looking in and knowing what they were like whilst I was in there, and now been able to look back and reflect on that, is that schools are run as businesses. They're not run as schools. So you have probably been fed, whether you're doing GCSE results or whether you've just picked up GCSE results or A-level results last week, you've probably been fed for the past 2 years even, ever since you started the courses, that this is really important. If you don't work hard, you're not going to get a GCSE result, and that means you'll never get into college, and then you'll never get an A-level result, and that means you'll never go to university. And if you don't go to university, you're a failure. And that's the problem, is that schools are being run as businesses because to them, it's all about results. They're not really that bothered about how you do as an individual. And I'm not, this is me talking about schools. There are some amazing teachers out there who genuinely give a shit, and they are like gods. They're so generous with the time and the effort that they put in to try and teach you and get you to pass your exams. And then there's some teachers who don't give a shit at all. They're just there to pick up a paycheck. That's fine. But the school as a whole is purely interested in statistics. How many A to C's did they get? Has it beaten, you know, the average? Has it beaten the other schools in the local area? And if not, then they'll have to push harder next year to get more people to, you know, do more classes they don't enjoy, study more lessons that they're not interested in, and try and force them to get at least that C grade in order to boost up their, you know, you'll see them all over schools over the next week or two in the UK. A 98% pass rate, and then in little tiny letters, they're like A star to D, and you're like, right, okay, that's how we're judging this now, is it? So again, it's all about bragging rights with schools. They're run as businesses, not as institutions in which to teach children and to adapt to how different children learn differently. So firstly, if you have not done well in your GCSE or A-level results, chances are, like I said, if you didn't put the work in, that's fine. But if you did put the work in and you still didn't do well, then that sort of structured environment of learning, it just means it's not how you learn. That, or it's not what you're interested in, it's not what you're meant to do. The point is, I do not want you to think that you're a failure, that you'll never amount to anything else because you didn't do well in a test, in a memory test. I've talked about this numerous times. The whole, so many, I mean, I did history and politics, so a lot of that was a memory test and being able to argue things from two different sides. Whilst the argument piece and the debating piece is important, the memory test is absolutely ridiculous because we all have these in our pockets now, which have all the numbers, all the stats, all the, you know, dates and everything else that you could possibly need to access within your hand, within an arm's reach at any given time. So don't let grades define you as a person and define whether you can be successful. That's not how this works. I know, you know, we've talked about success before on this channel and how, you know, you can judge success differently. Ultimately, some of the what many people class as the most successful people in the world, likes of Bill Gates, Richard Branson, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, all dropped out. They all failed at education at some point in their careers. And am I right in thinking Steve Jobs? Don't think Steve Jobs was a billionaire, but he certainly he ran a $1 billion company. Bill Gates, billionaire. Mark Zuckerberg, billionaire. Richard Branson, billionaire. So those 4 examples are people who could be monetarily gained, very successful people, run huge businesses, global businesses, and have been very, very successful. And they failed at some point in their education career. And is that what they're remembered for now? No. They're remembered for the great things that they've been and done after they've been through that tough period. And that's the message which I want to send to you right now, is that, yeah, you might be, if you're feeling down about your results right now, that's to be expected. But don't let it define you as a person. This doesn't mean that you're going to be a failure for your entire life. It doesn't mean that you're going to have to go and work in McDonald's. Not like there's anything wrong with working in McDonald's, I hasten to add. But it doesn't mean that you'll never be successful. It just means that you haven't found what it is that you're meant to do just yet. And the good news for you is we live in a time right now, and certainly in the next 5 to 10 years, where so many people are going to be able to create their jobs, create their careers on the internet, on this. And that will not require grades. That will not require, you know, qualifications. If you've got an idea and you know how to work computers, which you more than likely do now because you've grown up with them, you can make something happen. And that's the message. Like, if, you know, there's bound to be people out there who are saying, yeah, that's all well and good, but, you know, there's depends what it is that you want to do. If you want to be a doctor, a vet, a lawyer, whatever, those are very sort of old school traditional careers. And to go into them, you would traditionally right now have to go through the traditional channels. And that means if you are going to succeed in those jobs, you are the type of person who learns in a structured environment. So you've probably done very well in exams, in school, in that structured education system. You're winning just by being that type of person. That means you can do that. You learn that way, you'll be okay. You'll be better than okay. You'll be great. If, however, you are more, that's not what you want to do. The thought of those sort of jobs bores you. You want to do something creative. You want to create something. You want to build something for yourself. The structured education system is just not meant for you as it is right now. And I know it sucks. I know it's stupid, and I know it's not fair. I know it is. But life isn't fair, ultimately. And you've got to play the game to the best of your ability, given the tools that you've got. And right now, you've got the best tool. You've got the internet. And that is the biggest opportunity that we've ever had in terms of being able to create your own path, being able to create your own career. That is something which you can do. You don't need anybody's permission. And if you do want someone's permission, I'm giving you permission. You can start doing something for yourself. It's all there in front of you. Don't let grades define you. Yes, you have to do GCSEs. It's the law. You know, you have to go through the structured education system and get to year 11, do your GCSEs, and then it's up to you. But if you didn't do well because you just don't exam well, you're not interested in that traditional career path, you're more creative and want to do something, you know, on your own, the internet is your biggest friend right now. And that's what I want to share with you today. Is like, yes, it's GCSE results day. You're only young, you know, you're 16 years old, maybe nearly 17, maybe only just 16. Do not let this define you. If I knew now what I knew at 16, I'd be having the time of my life. I'd be just thinking everything is going to be great. I've got nothing to worry about because everything will work itself out. Trust me on that. You might not know what you want to do now. You might not know what you want to do in 5 years' time. Try everything. Try everything that interests you, and it will all make sense eventually. With that said, if you're watching this, and I know this is probably a video which is not going to be that relevant to some of you who are probably my age and older, who exams are a very fond, distant memory. By fond, I mean you're fond, you're glad that they are a distant memory. Let me know if you agree with what I'm saying. If you know, how did you do in your exam results? Let me know in the comments section. I personally did all right. A-level, I didn't do well at all. I walked away with a degree at university. It wasn't a great degree, but doing what I do now, it doesn't matter. Nobody has ever asked me in the past 10 years what, you know, my degrees in, what my A-level results are. It doesn't matter. I've made my own, my career now, the path that I'm on is now about my experience, my knowledge of what I've done in the past 10 years, not what an exam gave me, what letter an exam gave me on a piece of paper. Share with me what your thoughts are on this. Like I said, I know it's a bit of a weird one. It's a bit of a controversial topic. People have lots of different thoughts on this. One of the most successful people I know, and maybe what would be traditionally successful, but he was a very clever guy. One of my best friends, Joe. He was really clever, and then he knew at the age of like 15 he was going in the army. That's what he wanted to do, and basically didn't even turn up to some of his GCSE results. And he always made this joke that he could spell fudge with his GCSE results. And he served his country 2 tours, once in Iraq, once in Afghanistan. Did over 6 years in the army, came out, then went in, and you know, he's I don't want to go too much into what he's done. Very successful guy, and he's now, like I said, he's now back here in the UK. He's got a great job. You know, he's hustling. He does his own thing, and like I said, you can define success in a number of different ways. He's someone who's made it in a very unconventional way, but is living proof that results don't mean anything. You can make your own way in life. You can be successful. And yeah, that's the message. Results don't define you. With that said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe if you are new. There's new content every single weekday. And with that said, I'll catch you, as always, in tomorrow's video. See you then.